Let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Joe.
Well, I tell you guys, if we could have seen Montreal take that win in OT yesterday over the New Jersey Devils, I would have been a happy girl. But we did see the New Jersey Devils take the overtime win. I am Joe of Puckett with Joe. Let's jump straight into today's slate. You guys know I was riding with Montreal and the overtime bet, but that didn't cash. We did see the Devils win it in OT. Thankfully, I had OT separately as well, but that was great plus money, you guys. We did get that 4-3 outcome that we were looking for with the game starting off so hot. We got the 2 goals, both teams to score in the first period in that game yesterday. Definitely the best one out there. The Ottawa Senators didn't have the success I expected versus the Boston Bruins. Korpisalo getting the best of the ex-goaltenders versus their ex-team, or the goaltenders versus their ex-team. You guys know what I mean. And Jake Ottinger, wow. Baby, for Jake Ottinger, he didn't come out like we've seen other goaltenders be able to after the birth of their child. Jake Ottinger obviously tired out there as the Anaheim Ducks, and no discredit to the Ducks, 7 goals on Jake Ottinger last night. So definitely not the night we needed out of Ottinger. You guys know I had him for a shout out. I had him over the 23.5 save shots on goal. He wasn't able to get there, but it's a good morning. Let's make some money, Charlie. DePaul, it's good to see you guys here this morning. So, good morning from Mississippi. How is the weather in Mississippi? I'm up here in Calgary, Alberta, and I tell you, it's freezing outside tonight. High school football tonight in the dark is going to be a nice, chilly evening. We'll see how that goes, but let me know the weather where you're at. And if you're somewhere really warm, like you're watching from Australia, like my brother, don't tell me how nice it is down there, because I miss the heat this time of year. That is for sure. Good evening. Oh, it's evening there. It is morning up here. We're 11 o'clock my time. So let's jump into today's slate, you guys. We are looking at 4 games. It is a small slate today. So we're going to kick it off with the Minnesota Wild versus the New York Islanders. Minnesota on the second night of a back-to-back, okay? So they're rolling in as a plus 128 underdog. We do have the New York Islanders at minus 154. The total's coming in at 6.5. Now, the 6.5 is just to the over at minus 115. The Islanders are expected to have David Rittich between the pipes, not Sorokin, and Wallstedt expected here for the Minnesota Wild. When we look at David Rittich versus the Minnesota Wild in his career, this is where the strength and the belief comes in the New York Islanders to be able to get the win at home. The problem is the Islanders are a minus 154 favorite, so we got to find a way to bet it where we're not laying that kind of juice, because you guys, I hate laying the juice. Even if it still cashes, it's a winner, yes, but it's not worth the risk, at least for me. If your juice tolerance is higher, taking the New York Islanders on the money line, well, then I guess you can do it, but I do think you drop them to reg. If you drop the New York Islanders to regulation here, it becomes from a minus 154 to a plus 100. If you're not seeing in reg on your books, it's that 60-minute mark. The 3-way 60-minute means you can't push in the 60-minute. They have to get the win in the 60-minute. So the 60-minute mark for the Islanders coming in at plus 100. It's a great way to drop the juice on this and not have to lay any. So I said David Rittich is the reason. You look at David Rittich on the season. 3.01 goals against average and 902 save percentage. Those numbers don't look promising, but you look here. The Wild are on the second night of a back-to-back, and then you factor in what David Rittich has been able to do over his career versus the Minnesota Wild, going 5-0-1 in 6 games against them, a 2.11 goals against average, and a 935 save percentage. Now, the problem here with the Isles is their special teams is going to struggle here. if they end up in the box. And this is a team that's penalized so much. The Islanders need to clean things up. They're spending over 11 minutes per game in the box. If they do that in this one, the Minnesota Wild are going to destroy them. The Minnesota Wild are able to convert at 31.6% on the power play, fourth best overall in the league. They also, in their last 3 games, have been really stepping it up offensively. This is a team on the season only averaging 2.8, but in the last 3, they've netted 11 goals. So they are stepping up big time. So I know a lot of you might be wanting to look at that over, but I do think David Rittich can be strong between the pipes here for the Islanders. We know the Islanders have been bleeding those goals, though, allowing an average of 3.38 goals per game. Their kills only 77.3%. And that's what I mean. If they're in the box, they are going to give up those goals. So this one could be a live betting situation if you see how that play is coming out to start. If we're seeing the Isles take a lot of penalties and you're seeing Minnesota with those opportunities, maybe they don't convert on the first couple, but eventually they will convert in this one. David Rittich, while solid versus them, he can't always stand on his head. So the Minnesota Wild have had strong pushes, strong scoring opportunities, and then we've seen them have breakdowns as the game goes on, losing those games. Their defensive coverage is really solid. They are breaking down, though, in that way as well. They need to tighten up in their zone. That is the problem with this team. If they can tighten up in their zone and play really strong, they have the ability to come in here and get the win. Now, they are a plus 130 dog here. I couldn't take them at that price. I do think the Islanders, with the rest advantage, with home ice, have every ability, and David Rittich, to get the win. And that's why I'll be taking them at plus 100. But the path for the Wild to get the win would be to tighten up in their zone and not allow those defensive lapses to go as the game goes on. Both of these teams have had those struggles, right? You look at the Islanders in their last game versus the Boston Bruins, and they held the lead so many times, and they ended up losing that one in a shootout 4-3. Another game where those lapses just cost them at the end of things. So, and it's the same thing here for the Minnesota Wild. They're able to get up and then the lapses come. Now, with them on the second night of a back-to-back, I don't trust them here to be able to really push the Isles in this game. I think when you're looking at 2 teams that have those defensive lapses, it's going to be the Wild, whose tired legs will cost them at the end of the day. So we do have a solid 5-on-5 structure here for the Isles. So as long as they can play that 5-on-5 hockey and don't go down a man, they should be able to get the win. Now, it's the first night of back-to-back for the Isles. I don't love the scheduling spot because they do have a 7-game road trip on a deck. They face the Rangers tomorrow, and then they'll face the Devils, the Knights, the Mammoth, the Colorado Avalanche, the Dallas Stars, and the Red Wings. Their next home game isn't until November 22nd, you guys. That will be versus the St. Louis Blues. And after that, they actually play the next day. So they play Saturday and Sunday. That weekend, they'll play the Kraken the next day. So that's going to be a hard spot returning home from that road trip. Remember that when you look at the scheduling spot ahead for them versus the Rangers, they're going to be returning from this road trip versus Blues, depending on how this road trip goes. It could be a solid fade spot for them. Now, the Rangers and the Isles both play today. So the Rangers' advantage is they will be home, but they will be traveling home. So both of these teams traveling home, the New York Islanders, New York Rangers, the Islanders will have less travel distance here, as the Rangers today are in Detroit to take on the Red Wings. So we could see the Isles win 2 in a row. Dare I say they get 2 wins in a row, as I do think the Rangers come out strong today and the Isles come out strong, and then the Isles probably win it tomorrow. But stay tuned for my pocket cup of Joe for tomorrow for that. So one more thing to know, the Minnesota Wild coming off that loss yesterday to the Carolina Hurricanes. I look at this game as you take the Isles either in 60 minutes or you look at the Minnesota Wild's team total to the under. You're going to get great plus money for the Minnesota Wild's team total to the under. With David Rittich's numbers, I do like it. Under 2.5 at plus 126. I bet both of these. I took the 60-minute money line here for the Isles at plus 100 and the under 2.5 goals for the Minnesota Wild at plus 126. So that is where I'm going to go with this game. You could look at the Isles on the puck line if you think you get an empty netter, but I do think it's that tight of a game to go through this one where it's the 4-2 if the empty netter. Otherwise, it's a 3-2 win here for the Isles. If you're looking at goal scorers, Bo Horvat here for the Islanders, he's got 9 goals, 6 assists, total of 15 points on the season. He would be your go-to. We know Kaprizov and Matt Boldy have been solid for the Minnesota Wild. I would look at Tarasenko, though, for his assist. He's had 1 assist in the last 3 games out here for the Minnesota Wild, and his assist coming in at plus 250 has so much great value. Yeah, let's make some freaking money today, you guys. Moving on to the next game here. We have the New York Rangers versus the Detroit Red Wings. The New York Rangers coming in at plus 104. They have dominated in the past, the Red Wings, but the Red Wings will be starting Cam Talbot. He did play for the Rangers, so it is a goaltender versus his former team. We saw that yesterday with Allmark and Korpisalo. You're looking at the Detroit Red Wings in this home game as a minus 125 favorite. And you guys, the scheduling spot for them is brutal here. We do have a total of 5.5 with the juice to the over 5.5 at minus 138. So let's get into this game. Cam Talbot versus his former team. You've seen Cam Talbot versus the Rangers go 6-6 in 12 games with a 2.96 goals against average and 900 save percentage. Igor Shesterkin on the other side versus the Red Wings has been elite. He's been able to steal them these games. He's got a 2.26 goals against average and a 915 save percentage on the season. But the last time he faced the Red Wings, he did get a shutout 4-0 win. He's 5-0-1 in his career versus the Red Wings with a 943 save percentage. I think in this one, you got to look at the New York Rangers. Now, the Rangers are coming off that loss to the Carolina Hurricanes where they got shut out 3-0. I know they looked terrible in that last game. I know we rode with the Rangers, but we're going right back to them today. It's a one-off road game here for them. First night of a back-to-back, home tomorrow versus the Islanders. Again, I think the Isles win the 2 in the row. They win tonight. They win tomorrow. But the Rangers, they got to win this one tonight. I know tomorrow's big. It's a battle of the Metro, but I don't care. The Rangers have to come out and get the win over the Red Wings here versus their former goaltender. So we're seeing here the Red Wings off the loss to Vegas. That was a really hard battle out there. It was a 1-0 loss on Tuesday night. This is the first game home off a 5-game road trip. Okay, so 2 of those games of that 5-game road trip did go to a shootout. They were able to get the win in both. That was versus the LA Kings and the San Jose Sharks. They went 3-2 on this road trip. They don't play tomorrow. They do have the Chicago Blackhawks on Sunday, but I think they're going to be fatigued out here. They're going to have those tired legs. You look at the Red Wings, they are playing they played 8 games in 14 days. They've been out on the road. I struggle to see them scoring on Igor Shesterkin. The last 6 meetings have been won by the New York Rangers. And I know the Rangers aren't stepping up like we have seen in prior seasons, but the Red Wings, I think, struggle with tiredness. I was looking to take them under 3.5 goals, you guys. That was at minus 172, though. I can't get there. I do think under 2.5 goals is in play for the Red Wings. The problem is I check like 5 books. They have an under 1.5 and they have an under 3.5. They don't have an under 2.5. Why the heck are the books not giving us the under 2.5? I think if the Red Wings score on Igor, it's a max of 2 goals. You could look at the under 1.5 is going to get you amazing plus money. Not sure I'm brave enough to get there. Let me know if you are brave enough to get there on the Detroit Red Wings. I think their offense is tired, and I do think this is a lockdown. On the defensive side of things, if the Rangers win, it's in a lower scoring game, you guys. I see this being that 2-1 style game out there on the ice. So if anyone's scoring for the Red Wings, you got to look at Dylan Larkin, top line, top power play unit. He's got 8 goals and 18 points on the season. So that's 8 and 10 for goals and assists. On the other side, we got playmakers for the Rangers. You got Adam Fox. He's 8 assists with 11 points. You got Panarin, JT Miller, Mika Zibanejad. I think the Rangers step up and step up big in this one after being shut out. So we're looking here, at least I am, at the Rangers to come out and get the win. Now, the problem here with the New York Rangers, well, it's not a problem. Detroit is the favorite. I keep thinking that the Rangers are the favorite coming into this because I would have made them the favorite in this situation with the scheduling spot. So you can take the Rangers on the money line at plus 104, or you could just take the team total for the Detroit Red Wings under 2.5 if you can get it on your books. Under 1.5 if you can't. I still think this, this is a tight battle. We saw that 1-0 game versus Vegas. Defense should lock down on both sides of the puck for this one. So look for Igor to be really strong between the pipes. Yeah, the Rangers have to get a home win, right? Like they are absolutely struggling to get those wins at home. You also look at the Rangers. So the Rangers 0-5-1 at home, like you pointed out, 6-1-1 on the road. This is a team where home ice hasn't worked well for them, Timothy. So I do think it's a nice way to look at the Rangers today. They need it tomorrow. I think they leave it on the ice today, though, here versus a team that have the confidence coming in versus. Okay, we're going to move on to the Chicago Blackhawks versus the Calgary Flames. This game is 9:10 Eastern tonight. We do have a total of 6.5 at minus or at plus 114. And if you guys have seen my short over on Picks and Parlays, I am liking this one over the 6.5. I do think we've got a higher scoring game in this matchup. Now, Calgary has moved overnight. They were like that minus 150 mark last night, now minus 164. You can't touch that with a 10-foot pole. The Chicago Blackhawks coming in at plus 136. So both of these teams coming off big emotional games in their last one out. You had the Chicago Blackhawks roll into Vancouver and Connor Bedard have that game that we've all been waiting for him to have in his homecoming always for Connor Bedard into Vancouver. He grew up in the Vancouver area. Every time he goes back there, his friends, his family, his ex-teammates, his coaches, everyone comes to watch him, cheer him on. I'm not sure. Maybe he kind of bucked that last time because he's made jokes that he's had to pay to play in some of these games because of how many tickets that he has bought and given to the ones that he loves. So I don't even know if he did buy a bunch of tickets for that last game. Maybe the lack of pressure, if he didn't, was there for him to show up big, but he did show up big. Now, it was a really interesting game between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Vancouver Canucks. If you were rolling with an under, you look like you were going to cash that freaking ticket. Rolling into the third period, it was 0-0. Over bettors probably went to bed, given up on that game. Under bettors had thought they'd cash their tickets and went to bed as well. And if you woke up in the morning to see that game did finish 5-2. All those goals coming in the third period between Chicago and Vancouver. So Chicago able to get the win. We did see Tyler Bertuzzi get the hat trick for the Chicago Blackhawks in the third period. So he's got 5 goals on the year. 3 of those goals came in the third period versus Vancouver. Now, he's become the 7th Blackhawk player in the past 30 years to score a hat trick in a single period, and the 6th in NHL history to score a hat trick from the 3 original 6 teams, Chicago, Detroit, and Toronto. So it is crazy what he was able to do. That's going to go down in the record book. So if you missed that game, if you missed the highlights, go back and watch it. It was fantastic. And then you've got the Calgary Flames rolling in here after we saw Dustin Wolf play that game that we've been waiting to see this season. Dustin Wolf last season, his rookie season, looked so solid out there between the pipes. He had that style of game in the last game out versus the St. Louis Blues. He went in that game 42 saves. Now, that is the most out of a goaltender for Calgary since Jacob Markstrom had 46 back in 2002. We know Jacob Markstrom has now moved on and is playing with the New Jersey Devils. So you're seeing Dustin Wolf have that big game in a game where Kadri was playing his 1,000th game, you guys. It was absolutely epic what they were able to do. That game started off hot and fast. I think Calgary had 2 goals before 2 minutes had even lapsed in that one. You could even sit down and get the game on fast enough, and Calgary was scoring. So Nazem Kadri in game number 1,000 did net a goal himself. It was fantastic to see him come out so nice and strong in that game, and for Calgary to get that 5-1 win. Now, they do have the Wild on Sunday and the Blues again on Tuesday. They'll be on the road for both of those games. Now, between Chicago and Calgary, this is the first meeting of these 2 teams of 3, but the next 2 are in Chicago. So this is Calgary's only chance in Calgary to get the win. Now, Calgary swept them last season. They won all of the meetings last season, outscoring them 14-7. Can they continue with that same momentum? Well, we look at last season, and I really love looking at what players were on these teams in the past and how they were able to do, especially looking at that goaltending. So Dustin Wolf last season was in net for all 3 games versus Chicago. In those 3 games, he had a 2.35 goals against average and a 918 save percentage. Now, we know he's reverted a little bit, but he is coming off a big high. We did see Coronado last season in those 3 games have 3 goals and 2 assists, and Jonathan Huberdeau have 1 goal and 3 assists versus Chicago. So those were your players that really stepped up. Connor Bedard for Chicago, even though the Chicago Blackhawks lost in those 3 games, 2 goals and 2 assists, so a total of 4 points. Really strong performance. Tara Vinen had 3 assists, and Bertuzzi had 2 goals and 1 assist. With Bertuzzi coming off such a big game, you guys, you got to look at Bertuzzi to step up in this one. Like I said, I do expect this to be a higher scoring game, the over 6.5. I know Calgary is so defensive minded. This is a team that is really locking down opponents and limiting their ability to get those shots on goal. They want to play a defensive battle. But with Chicago coming in off that solid game, I do think Connor Bedard, Tyler Bertuzzi, they really push them in Tara Vinen, push them in this game into a higher scoring game than Calgary wants to play in. Dustin Wolf, again, coming off an absolutely electric game in the last. I don't think he has that solid of a game. I do think this is a 4-3 style win here for the Calgary Flames. This is one that has every opportunity to go to overtime, so I cannot bet Calgary in reg to drop that juice. I'm going to look at the over 6.5. I'm going to take that plus money. 9 of the last 13 games have gone over the total. So if you want to take the overtime bet, because I do think it is a very solid way to go in this game to take this one to overtime, I actually like it better than the over 6.5. The overtime bet's plus 330. I think that is a great way. I'm going to get in and bet it after we're done this show. So over is the bet. Yeah, I like over and I like overtime. So let's get this freaking bread. That is for sure. Let's make some money. Let's make some money over here. Bet Chicago live team total when they go down. Yeah. Charlie, it absolutely has been money, and I'm so glad that you came in with that. The Chicago Blackhawks sometimes start off slow in these games, especially out there on the road. The books overreact, and they drop those totals. In Chicago, if Calgary does go up 1-0, you're going to then get the Chicago Blackhawks plus 1.5 on that puck line for value. Currently, the Chicago Blackhawks plus 1.5 is minus 188. You know we can't get there with Chicago at minus 188. But they are 6-2 on the puck line on the road, 11-3 overall, 6-5-3 on the season. I do think this is a 1-goal game. So live betting, if Calgary manages to go up first, you're then going to get a great price there for the Chicago Blackhawks. So I would take them plus the 1.5. You're going to go with Chicago and the Rangers. It is a Friday, you guys. You know, freaky things happen on a Friday. This is where the dogs are barking. So if you like Chicago, if you like the Blackhawks to be the winners at 4-3, I don't blame you out here. They have every ability to do so. They're on a long road trip right now, and this is my only concern. This is game 5 of a 6-game road trip, and I think this is where you start to see teams wearing down, especially off such a big emotional game versus Vancouver. But Calgary was off an emotional game as well. This one comes down to a little bit of puck luck, you guys. They have the Red Wings on Sunday, so hold on in this one. It's going to be a great game. I really do love the over. Last game. Okay, how big are the dogs barking here? I almost said the Chicago Sharks. The San Jose Sharks at home are a plus 160 underdog. God, can we just take all underdogs today? No, because I like the Islanders. I think the Flames end up winning it. You guys like Chicago. I like the Rangers, though. The San Jose Sharks, the biggest dog on the board. Can they get the win over the Winnipeg Jets? Maybe, but I don't like it because Winnipeg is coming off that loss to the LA Kings. We know the San Jose Sharks offensively have been fantastic. Defense and goaltending lapses have cost them these games. They're a more dangerous team than the record does represent, you guys. So be very careful when you're looking at teams versus the Sharks. It's not an auto win. Even though the Sharks record looks poor, this Sharks team led by Macklin Celebrini and all the supporting staff there have every ability with their speed through the neutral zone to get those rushes, really leave the defenses in the dust and be able to get those shots on goal. And they can convert on the second chances. Now, the problem here is they're going to go against Connor Hellebuyck. Connor Hellebuyck, one of the best goaltenders in the whole league, should be fantastic between the pipes tonight. The Winnipeg Jets are a minus 196 favorite. Minus 1.5 on the puck line is plus 122. Total sitting at 6.5. Connor Hellebuck, a 921 save percentage on the season. Asarov is between the pipes here for the San Jose Sharks. The Sharks are allowing 31.4 shots on goal per game, which is deadly here. You look here at the Winnipeg Jets. So in that last game versus the LA Kings, the 3-0 loss, I did really expose the lack of secondary pressure and net presence. They weren't able to get it done. They were taking these shots from the blue line. They were taking the shots from outright. There was no one in front of the net to get those secondary scoring opportunities, which cost them that game, because with those secondary scoring opportunities, the goaltender really has to work so much harder. That was a one-off, though. I'm expecting more in front of net presence in the Shark zone, and then to be able to get those secondary shots on Asarov. Asarov might not even stop the first shot, right? So we're looking at a Sharks team who's coming off a big win versus the Seattle Kraken, and that was a big emotional win for them, 6-1 out there on the road. First night of back-to-back, the Florida Panthers on deck tomorrow for them. The Sharks don't look past anyone. They know every single game is we got to win this kind of thing. Their defense is the problem, you guys. It's not their offense. You look at their offense. They are getting limited shots, but they're high danger shots, only averaging 24.9, which is 31st in the league. But you look at this team, what is it, 48 goals, I believe they have already on the season, a 3.43 average goal per game. 21.3% conversion on the power play. They're coming out nice and strong. Now, we do have a strong power play, strong ability to get those shots for the Winnipeg Jets. We know this team's strength. They are also so strong defensively. Connor Hellebuck is a wall between the pipes, and then they're only allowing 2.54 goals against average on total. They are allowing those shots to come in at 30.2, though. Game 2 of a road trip. They have the Ducks on Sunday, so I'm not worried about the scheduling spot here. I'm just going to look at what I think the Sharks can do in this one, and it's score on a leaky defense and poor goaltending here for the San Jose Sharks. I'm going to take the Jets team total over 3.5. You're going to have to lay some juice at minus 118, and then win or lose. Like if the Sharks all of a sudden come out and get 5 goals on Connor Hellebuck because he has an off night, which I can't really see happening, and the Sharks win, so be it. But I think no matter what, the Jets get 4 goals. So the Jets team total over 3.5. This is the offense that I have the most faith in. If you're looking at the Sharks team total, it is 2.5. The problem is Connor Hellebuck. I trust Connor Hellebuck out there, so I don't know if the Sharks are going to be able to score on him, especially off that big win. That was a huge win out there for the Sharks in the Pacific versus the Kraken. So I can't take them with this defense who allows the goals to come in bunches. We've also seen the Winnipeg Jets win the last 5, right? They've won the last 5 matchups. They've got the discipline. They've got the depth. You got Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor leading the attack. And I do think with Adam Lowry back in center, you're going to see a really improved structure out of this. They're going to have that reinforced defense out there, and it's going to be a good game. Now, on the other side for the San Jose Sharks, Macklin Celebrini has been fire. The tempo, the quickness through the neutral zone for this team is incredible to watch. I love watching these young players just firing through that neutral zone, not allowing the defenses to be able to catch up with them. You got Tyler Toffoli, you got Klingsberg, and then there's a couple other players that are so strong. Will Smith, that's who I was drawing a blank on for this team. They are dangerous. Don't underestimate the Sharks. I don't think it's their night tonight. Mark Scheifele for the Winnipeg Jets has 9 goals, 11 assists, so a total of 20 points on the season. Kyle Connor sitting there with 8 goals, 9 assists, 17 points. Fladarty, 5 goals, 8 assists, 13 points. Josh Morrissey, don't forget about Josh Morrissey, just because he gets the assists and not the fancy goals. 1 goal, 10 assists, and Niederreiter are coming in with 3 and 5. All of these playmakers are so solid out there. You look at Vladarty's ability to win the faceoff, and it's fantastic. He's won 62.5% of the faceoffs he's gone in. We have seen lower faceoff for Niederreiter, but he's won every single faceoff he's been able to take. And Josh Morrissey able to get those takeaways. So we'll see Josh Morrissey really playing strong out there for the Winnipeg Jets, trying to slow down Macklin Celebrini, who has 21 points on the season, 8 goals and 13 assists. Will Smith coming in with 5 goals, 8 assists, and 13 total points. Eklund, don't forget about him. 5 goals, 6 assists for 11 points. So great playmakers out here for both of these teams. I'll just take the Winnipeg Jets team total over 3.5. They probably turn into tadpoles. Top 3 goal scorers. Oh, yeah. You know we want to do that. Top 3 goal scorers for sure. Adam Lowry. Gotta look at Adam Lowry tonight. I think he comes out nice and strong. Jets top line. Absolutely. Jets top line they will dominate today. Yeah, I don't see the Sharks winning it either, you guys. I love a barking dog, but not one I really want to get behind. Yeah, Jets are absolutely pissed off. I would be pissed off too. That 3-0, I'm mad. You know, my money was sitting on the Winnipeg Jets first period. We weren't able to get it done. So let's go Jets. Let's turn things around for sure. Let's get into the recap, you guys. I forgot to bookmark everything. I will get those bookmarks up after the show, though. I really appreciate you guys for being here. I hope you guys took Sidney Crosby for that anytime goal last night. He was able to get 2 in the first period. It was fantastic to see. The Washington Capitals, Ovi, he didn't get goal number 901. I still can't believe he got goal number 900 the night before and not against Sid. So let's do the recap now, you guys. If you guys can hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, the notification bell over here on YouTube, so you know when everything does drop. I will be doing my Pocket Cup of Joes. I'm going to release a couple Pocket Cup of Joes later this afternoon for this weekend. Now, if you're looking for all of my bets in the NFL and college football, make sure you do check out an NBA, actually, Betting Pros. You're going to be able to see my bets on Betting Pros for the NBA on Tuesday and Wednesdays. You're also going to see my college football 3-packs dropping on a Friday for the Saturday games. And then my NFL picks are up for the primetime games on Betting Pros. Those are my best bets out there between NBA, college football, and NFL. You can also head on over to Picks and Parlays for my best bets in everything. I cover everything across the board on Picks and Parlays as well as Wager Talk. Don't forget about that primetime preview that I'm part of on Wager Talk Monday and Thursday nights. Those are your last calls right before these games kick off, where we're seeing differences in the lines, where great places are to jump on. So check me out on Wager Talk. Check me out on Picks and Parlays, and check me out on Betting Pros. The Betting Pros is under the short section. You want to grab those. Those are my best bets over there. So, and then all the long expanded videos on Picks and Parlays. If you haven't had enough of me from Talking Hockey, that's where you guys can find it. So you took Adam Lowry for the first goal. I like Adam Lowry for that first goal. Adam Lowry, I think, comes out nice and strong. I got Vladardi on the Jets for 2 points. This is a game where I think you load up on the Jets. Panarin, anytime goal for the New York Rangers. Great way to go. You got them parlayed together. So you got Vladardi and Panarin parlayed together. Also ran with Nazem Kadri 2+ points and Kyle Connor for a goal. Love where you guys are going with your bets today. Okay. Recap time. Let's get into it. 4 games out there on a deck. We're going to kick it off with the Minnesota Wild versus the New York Islanders. Give me the Isles in regulation. At the 60-minute bet is coming in at +100 for the Isles to get the win. I love their defensive structure out here, and David Rittich has been strong versus the Wild in his career. With a 9.35 goals against average. Second night of a back-to-back here with a backup goaltender in for the Minnesota Wild. I think they're going to struggle. Those defensive lapses will let them down. They haven't been able to tighten up in their zone, and I think the Islanders, as long as they don't spend time in box, will be able to capitalize. Give me the Wild's team total under 2.5 at +126. Bo Horvat for the anytime goal for the Isles. The New York Rangers versus the Detroit Red Wings. Give me the Rangers +104 on the money line. The Red Wings team total under 2.5. If you can find it on a book, I checked several books. I couldn't get the under 2.5. If you really want, take them under 1.5. I do think the Red Wings struggle to score. Coming home from a road trip, 8 games in 14 days. This team is going to be tired. The Rangers 8-1-1 on the road. Yes, it is the first night of back-to-back with the Isles on deck tomorrow at home. But I think the Rangers get the win. They've won the last 6. Panarin, you guys threw it out for the goal. I like it. Adam Fox for the goal as well. You could look at JT Miller and Mika Zibanejad. Both are going to be impactful. Dylan Larkin, if the Red Wings are scoring, that's who I would go with. The Chicago Blackhawks versus the Calgary Flames. Give me a nice, easy over 6.5. I hope they don't make it sweat this one, you guys. I do think 4-3 style win here for the Calgary Flames. I think this one goes to overtime plus 330 is the overtime bet, and I absolutely love it. Tyler Bertuzzi for the anytime goal off a hat trick last week for the Chicago Blackhawks. I love hat trick last game, not last week. And then on the other side for Calgary, Coleman. I like Coleman to come out nice and strong. He's getting those shots. Backlund has been able to score a goal in each of the Flames' last 2 games against Chicago. I'll take Backlund as well. So Backlund and Coleman for those anytime goals in a higher scoring game, and Tyler Bertuzzi over there for Chicago. The Winnipeg Jets and the San Jose Sharks. Give me the Winnipeg Jets. Team total over 3.5 at minus 118. I love where you guys are going with Kyle Connor, Adam Lowry, Mark Scheifele. You can't go wrong with this top line. Vladardi as well, and Josh Morrissey. I do think the goals are coming. You can see the Winnipeg Jets winning this one 5-2, right? If anyone's scoring for the San Jose Sharks, Macklin Celebrini has to be part of it. I'd look at Macklin Celebrini for his points tonight if you believe the Sharks are barking. I just can't get behind them here. I think the Jets' defensive structure will be too much for them. But you guys, that was the recap. Let's look at some player props. Yeah, you can look at Connor Bedard. He's going to be coming off such a high in that last game. Connor Bedard versus Calgary last season, he did perform well. 2 goals and 2 assists. I'd rather look at him for his 2+ points if his 1 point is too juicy than the anytime goal. So let's build a long shot parlay. You guys know I love to do this. We're going to start with that game between Calgary and Chicago. So the long shot parlay is a player point parlay. Connor Bedard's coming in at minus 215 for Chicago. I would rather take Tyler Bertuzzi. I tell you, after what he was able to do in the last game, and he's plus 102 coming into this one, I think he has every ability to get another point on the board after the hat trick in the third versus Vancouver. I'll take Tyler Bertuzzi here for Chicago. And then we know Jonathan Huberdeau has had success, and Matt Coronado versus the Chicago Blackhawks. They had this success last season. I'll look at Coronado to be able to come out nice and strong in this. I do think he has that big game. Blake Coleman, Backlund are the other players that I would look at too. But for this one, Coronado last season versus Chicago had 5 points, 3 goals, 2 assists in 3 games. So that is where I will go. So far we got 2 legs. If you just want to do a same game parlay, Tyler Bertuzzi for a point and Matt Coronado for a point, coming in at plus 254 parlay together. Again, Tyler Bertuzzi and Matt Coronado are players that you can look at separately for the player point. Tyler Bertuzzi of the Chicago Blackhawks is plus 102. Matt Coronado is minus 113. That's just for the point, you guys. I think both of them play nice and strong in this game. Let's look at the Winnipeg Jets. I'm going to take player points just for the Jets in this one. I'm really scared of Connor Hellebuyck after they got shut out in that last game. I think the defensive structure in front, I'm very, very limited here on the Sharks, especially off that game. So I would look here at Mark Scheifele, but he's too highly juiced. I do think we go down to Adam Lowry coming out here. Now, we're not getting him for the point, which is a shame on the book that I'm on. If you're able to get him for the point on your book, I definitely would look at Adam Lowry. Now, they are listing him for the goal, right? I just want to make sure. Sometimes they just don't give us for the goalies plus 480. Can we get Adam Lowry to come strong and get us that goal? We could be able to, you guys. At plus 480, I've got to take a chance. You guys, I'm doing it. Adam Lowry, I'm going to get that in right after. But for the long shot parlay, I'm going to look for the player point to come out. I can't do Kyle Connor. I think he gets a point. It's minus 380. I can't do Mark Scheifele. It's minus 290. I do think both of them get a point. You look at Vladardi, he's minus 184. That's more bettable range to throw inside a parlay. And then Josh Morrissey. Jonathan Towles is a nice look. Okay, let's go with Josh Morrissey. I trust Morrissey to come out strong. Again, I'm staying off everyone for San Jose. The New York Rangers and the Detroit Red Wings, that game, Cam Talbot, that could be that lower scoring one. Let's go the Isles, though. Let's go Bo Horvat to get us a point here. For the Isles, I'm going to stay off everyone for the Minnesota Wild. Matthew Barzal is minus 210. Bo Horvat's minus 210. Palmieri, you go further down the list, we're getting more value. Matthew Schaefer coming in at minus 132. I got to go Horvat, but if you guys want to switch that around, I don't blame you. Okay, 4-legger. We got 4 legs. It's plus 771. So not a big parlay today. For our long shot parlay, $10 does return 77.13. Tyler Patuzzi for the Chicago Blackhawks for a point. Matt Conato for the Calgary Flames for a point. Josh Morrissey of the Winnipeg Jets for a point. And Bo Horvat of the New York Islanders for a point. It's coming in at plus 771, you guys. So all 4 of those players for a point. I love the assist. That is for sure. That's a great price on Matt for the assist. You got the goal at plus 500. Who's the goal for? Ooh, look at this one. Mika Zibanejad, Kaprizov of the Wild. So Mika Zibanejad, it's the Rangers. Kaprizov for the Wild. Connor Bedard for Chicago. Adam Lowry for Winnipeg. For the goals? For the goal? Is that for the goals? Seriously? Plus 11,897. Let's freaking go, Charlie. If you win that one, where are you going to go on vacation? I want to hear it. Lowry to score. You're getting Lowry to score a goal at plus 500. I saw plus 480. That's why you guys shop those lines. If you guys are looking for where to shop those lines on Odds Logic, I can drop a referral code down here, which will get you 7 days free over on Odds Logic. I'll drop it after the show. So look below the video if you're just watching. I freaking love Adam Lowry for the goal. Plus 480, plus 500. Shop those lines. Get the best of them. I'll go find that plus 500 for sure. You guys, thank you for joining me here for Puck It with Joe. My cup of Joe. Yeah, you know what I mean. My Puck It with Joe, Cup of Joe will be released tomorrow. I'm trying to stay off these live shows on the weekend just because I know there's so much going on, especially now with college basketball going. I want to make sure you guys get the content as fast as you need it. For me to do the show, it just takes way longer, especially on the weekend with everything else, all my other obligations out there. So make sure you check it out. My Cup of Joe, my Pocket Cup of Joe. That is what it's called. At least I can remember my name here. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. Let's make some freaking money. Best of luck to each and every single one of you today. Absolutely crush the freaking books. Drop below this video what you're liking out there on the ice. What player you think is hot? Who could get a hattie tonight? Could we see Kyle Connor come out and get a hattie versus the San Jose Sharks and put Macklin Celebrini in his place? Let me know. Let me know the storyline that you're looking at tonight. And I tell you, Jake Ottinger, get some rest before you hit the ice again. That baby, giving your baby brain, that's for sure. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. Let's make some freaking money. Stay hot. And we'll see you for a Cup of Joe, a Pocket Cup of Joe tomorrow.